Dano and Claire's new house was full of unfamiliar sounds, floorboards creaking and heating vents that ticked in the walls. But the real problem was the 3 knocks they heard every night from the far end of the hallway. When checking the security feed, they saw a white, narrow door at 2:47 a.m. mark, appearing right where there should only be painted drywall. Daniel tried to find the door in person. On the camera screen, his hand reached for a doorknob. In reality, his fingers pressed against flat, solid drywall. There was nothing there. When our own eyes disagree with a neutral recording, our modern instinct is to trust machines. We expect sensors and lenses to remember the things that we might have missed. We have surrounded ourselves with these unblinking eyes. Closed-circuit systems and cell phone cameras now extend to nearly every corner of every town, watching traffic intersections, parking lots, and our own private hallways. This network generates a constant stream of raw, unfiltered data. It captures frequencies and details existing outside our immediate attention, recording events exactly as they transpired. But translating raw data into an objective truth requires more than just looking at the screen. It requires the rigorous science of forensic audio and video analysis to verify what's actually real. The process begins with authentication. This is a technical audit used to prove that a digital file is the original, unaltered recording of a scene, rather than an edit or a corruption. Analysts look for anomalies in the file's metadata and signal. They watch for unnatural waveforms in the video or sudden, inexplicable shifts in the ambient background noise that would suggest a break in the recording's continuity. This logic was central to the Watergate investigation. Experts had to determine the origins of an 18.5-minute gap in President Richard Nixon's audio recording. By examining the level of AC hum recorded onto the magnetic tape, analysts were able to verify which specific White House recorder made the erasure and whether the recording actually took place in the secretary's office. Daniel attempts his own amateur version of this step. He checks the Wi-Fi logs, scrubs the device history, looks for software bugs or compression errors explaining the door. He finds absolutely no evidence of tampering. The Wi-Fi was stable and the files were delivered exactly as recorded. To the limits of his technical ability, the impossible door was authentic. Step 2 is evidence enhancement. This is the process of clarifying a recording so the details become more apparent to investigators and jurors. For video, deinterlacing combines 2 television fields into a single full frame, while demultiplexing isolates a single camera's view. A sharpening pass makes blurred edges distinct. In the Carly-Bruscia abduction, these methods allowed experts to clarify the suspect's face and uniform name tag. Audio enhancement uses frequency equalization to boost specific bands. Isolating the range between 200 and 5,000 Hz emphasizes human speech while reducing background noise. Compression then levels the audio signal, narrowing the dynamic range to make faint, distant sounds audible on playback. If Daniel had applied these forensic filters to his hallway audio, he might have heard more than just knocking. He would have been able to isolate the faint whispers of the voice practicing its speech behind the wall. The final step is identification and interpretation. This is where the enhanced data is compared to known objects or people to make a positive identification. Following the 2011 Stanley Cup riots, the Vancouver police used video evidence to bring charges against more than 100 rioters. They painstakingly extracted photos from thousands of hours of footage to identify specific individuals in the chaos. But the figures in the hallway camera weren't strangers from the outside. When Dano and Claire finally fled the house, they found 2 sets of bare footprints in the dust at the end of the hallway, both leading directly into the solid wall, with none coming out. The room didn't exist in the physical house until the camera gave it a shape. It was a blind spot in the architecture that only solidified because it was being observed by a machine. Forensic science relies on the fact that these recording devices are neutral. They capture details exactly as they are, providing the evidence needed to solve crimes and verify witness statements. But as we rely more on machines to perceive our world, we are forced to accept the reality they show us, even when they perceive a room and a doorway that our own eyes weren't meant to see.